All right. Here's something that I think is kind of interesting. I saw one comment that said this. It said, "You're full of shit." Now, here's why I think that this is funny, and here's actually the reason that I'm making the video, because I feel like if you actually listen to the premise of it, it actually does seem like too simple for someone to need to say, which is so many of the topics that I talk about. I feel like that too. Like, everybody already knows this. Nobody needs a YouTube video to like know this. But really, sometimes when you don't have someone who looks like you, someone who just identifies in some way that you identify, saying the thing that you need to hear, it doesn't hit the same way. This could be why I keep having all the black men or the men in my comments who are just saying shit because they're like, oh my God, it's a girl saying it. And it's not just some person because like the 4B movement is supposed to be from Korea. So it's someone who's not Korean who's like getting on and like saying this. But let's go back. So slow and steady wins the race. Now, something that I've learned like over time is that like when you have a goal, it could be any goal. It could be a goal as, far-fetched as becoming an attorney or a surgeon. It could be something as small as being a waitress at, the Waffle House. Whatever your goal is, there are some steps that you're gonna have to take to make it work. I think that for so many women of color, especially women of color who grew up like lower middle class, this is also happening to a lot of like white middle class and lower middle class women. They are succumbing to street life. What I mean by that is they're like resorting to sex work, basically, and sex work is the easiest form of work for a woman to do, where she's going to be able to like pay bills because men are going to forever and always like buy that stuff. But let's say that you just like you just don't want to do that. Like you just, there's like moral reasons to not do it, but I personally think you should not do it for safety reasons. I just don't feel like we live in a society that is, I already feel like it's not safe for women, and I think that doing things like that, you target yourself even more, and you make yourself more of like a target for people to just try and murder you. And so I think you should like lower your risk tolerance for that sort of stuff. Also, it's just kind of most of the people that you'll meet in civil society, they also just morally look down on that type of stuff. And just in terms of kind of living a life of peace, you'd want to have more people look upon you as having some moral backbone as opposed to having less. So even if you are doing that sort of stuff, it's okay to stop and then start to, build a new path that's a little bit more just a part of the industrial world, because there are just so many skills and things that you could do right now, you know what I'm saying, that are like going to provide you money, and you don't like need that much money to have your needs met. So that's kind of important to note too. Okay, but going back, so then why am I talking about slow and steady wins the race, and what does that really mean? Well, let's say that you went to a high school and it was like a really shitty, really crappy high school. So you're one of those kids who like couldn't read or anything. You were just like down way, way bad. Hopefully you weren't, but let's say like worst case scenario. But then you just realized like, and you're a woman, because I make this channel for women. So then you're like, okay, well now I have to start my life. That's true. You do need to start your life. So first thing is like realizing that your circumstances were not good, and then taking steps forward to improve your circumstances. This is actually pretty much what I cover on this channel. It's almost like the smallest steps that you can take toward surviving on your own. I know a lot of the other like Black meritocracy channels are talking about how to be great, how to be excellent, Black excellence, all these things, how to have like, you know, masters and PhDs, degrees, and all this pedigree and nepotism, networking, and all these things. I don't talk about that because I really do believe that it doesn't matter where you start. You can like really live a really decent life in America. I really do believe that, especially as I'm getting older. I'm starting to understand like ways that you can do that where it's just so real. I think so, especially for myself, having grown up in California, having grown up in Silicon Valley, having been around tech and medicine and all of these like very high profile people and career paths, sometimes you can miss and overlook the dignity that comes with just living kind of a more regular life. And the dignity that can come with living just a very regular life is so meaningful. And I think that actually having and building that for yourself for a few years will enable you to see like when a qualified partner comes along and can improve that for you. But you need to have it first. And you need to have it kind of for a while first. So let's say that you leave your family, right? You just move somewhere else. Maybe you don't move to like New York or like LA where it's so expensive, but you move to like Idaho. You move to Nashville. Well, Nashville might be kind of hard too, but you know, you move somewhere else. You move to Mississippi or something like that. And you just get a job. You find a cheap apartment, okay? And then you just do that. You work and you pay your rent. You work and you pay your rent and you buy your groceries. You work and you pay your rent and you buy your groceries. And you do that for a solid year. That's kind of great, right? Like that's pretty awesome. I'm not like you're on the right path. Like you should keep going on that path. That is a good path to be on. For real. And it's kind of weird to have so many people kind of like brushing past the fact that that is a positive path to be on. It's a real path to be on. And like if you kind of just continue to make gradual improvements off of that, so you haven't had any children, you're not in any toxic relationships, there's no one out here trying to, you know, ruin your life because all you did was go to work and then come home, go to work and then come home. It's boring as fuck, but there's other people. You have Netflix, TV shows, you can take a walk, get a cat, okay? Like those are all things that are small and safe, and you can do those things and then slowly work on yourself. Maybe start to work on a little certificate at home at night, you know? Build a small writing blog. That's what I do. It's kind of cool. Something you can do. Just something to think about. Yeah.